Hello and welcome to the Divorce to Bliss podcast. Here you will learn all things related to healing from divorce, mind, body, and spirit, so you can create a beautiful new life filled with happiness. I'm Rachel Ruby, author of Divorce to Bliss, divorce coach, speaker, and attorney, and I'm so glad you found me here. Hello and welcome to the Divorce to Bliss podcast. I'm Rachel S. Ruby, and we are going to have a little treat today. I am speaking with Helena Ho. Helena is a Feng Shui expert and consultant in Chinese metaphysics. She teaches people how to create more happiness by improving the flow of energy in the home, thus shifting personal energy and mindset to make wiser decisions in life. And of course, this allows us to connect with our authentic self. Now, connecting with your authentic self, of course, I've talked about this before. This is a big enabler for healing. And unlike most of the inner work that we do when healing from divorce, this allows us to kind of have a little break and do some outer work. But that outer work has a profound effect on us internally, body, mind, and spirit. So thank you so much for joining me today, Helena. I'm so excited to delve into this topic with you. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I think I'm really happy to be here because I really want to let people know, about these tools and how this can make these transitions, with more ease, as these are, challenging situations or moments in our life.
Definitely. So for those listeners and viewers who don't really know much about Feng Shui or may have never heard of Feng Shui, can you tell us what it is?
Feng Shui is a system that analyzes and improves the quality of your environment. So these are systems that help us to understand our lives better and also to use it to our benefit.
Okay.
Yeah, the main thing with Feng Shui is how to improve the energy from outside, inside, so that you can feel better and, achieve more success in life, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I wanted to talk about my own experience with that, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But how does Feng Shui keep people balanced, and why is it especially important when you're healing from a trauma like divorce to have a balanced environment?
Yeah, so your life depends on three things, and your house and Feng Shui is one of them. So if you are going through a difficult situation, then changing your house or putting attention to your house can give you a lift, a boost, or change, your how you feel.
Yeah. So I know for a fact that this is so true because when I was going through my healing process, I sold the family home. I moved into a new home that I purchased. And I had some work done before to make it brighter, to make it, it has a lot of natural light, but to make that, to kind of take advantage of that. And then I moved in, and then I kind of just knowingly on my own, place things that are the right colors that make me feel good and stuff like that. And I know so many of us are naturally good at that. Like we can say, oh, I don't want clutter, or I don't want, dark colors or the light being covered up. But I have a question when it comes to Feng Shui. What if you have a situation where let's say you have something that doesn't really flow? For example, I've heard that the front door should never open to a stairway where they're facing each other because that kind of blocks the energy. So how can somebody, if they have something like that, something that doesn't naturally flow according to Feng Shui principles or Chinese metaphysics, how can they get around that? Obviously, they can't move their stairs. So what are some ways they can get around that to make it flow better?
I would say, focus on the things that can work. It's a bit of a habit of us that when something is not working, or if we hear something that is negative, that we focus too much on that part. Mm-hmm. But there are always things, that can be improved. And it's all about the chi flow, the energy flow, and how to make the improvements in the house, to enhance that. And the first part, and that's the part that everyone can do is to make space, being, not just cleaning, but also being more conscious about what you put, what you see actually every day. What is the first thing you see when you enter the house? In situations like being like coming from a divorce, I would say having like everything that reminds you or connects with your past, let it go. Make space for new things to enter. If the energy doesn't flow in your house, you will not be able to get the ideas or see the opportunities in your life. It's just like, if you feel stuck, or if you cannot make any decisions, or that's because the energy is not flowing well. So if you start this process, you will immediately feel get more ideas and new perspectives, to see things in a different light. And this is actually just like one thing. So Feng Shui has different layers. You have the things that you can see, which is visible to our eyes, and then you have the invisible patterns. So there's also an opportunity there to benefit. But what we can do is just look around. How do we feel? Is it spacious? Like you said that some people don't like clutter. Well, I don't think that anyone, is really likes to be in the dark or in the clutter. But sometimes I have met people that do mention or tell me that they want to sit in the dark, but that just gives you a reflection, about where you are, and you don't need to, change everything, but maybe just explore it. Like, why do I like to, keep these? And
I think when people are healing, at least, a lot of people I speak with, there is this, there is a very easy tendency to be pulled into kind of negativity and a victim mindset. And because, there's so much emotion involved with divorce, especially the longer you've been married, if you have a family of children. And so what I notice is, a lot of people go to that negativity right away because there's so much shame associated with divorce, because we're often made to feel like a failure that we're getting divorced. We hear this from society, religion, culture, family. So those things all sometimes will make it really difficult for someone to stay positive and get into this healing pattern. And I really honestly believe 100% that we need to be in beautiful spaces when we're doing this. We need to be in, and I don't mean you need to live in this phenomenally mansion, but we need to be in a space that we're happy to come back to, and that's bright. The light is so important, because I think, personally, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but when you are going through something really difficult, if you are in that darkness, it literally and figuratively speaking, it's easier to feel negativity. And if you're just letting in the light, if you wake up in the morning and a first thing I do when after I brush my teeth is I go around my house and I open all the shutters and I just let the light in, because it's just almost like this cleansing, daily cleansing thing that I do, and let in the light and let the outside in. And that makes me feel so much better. And when I was healing, that always made me feel so much better, just like going outside. Right. So So let me ask you this. What if someone is staying in their home space, at least temporarily or even permanently, the home space that they shared with the former spouse as they are going through this divorce and this healing process? And how a lot of times, like you were saying, let go of things, and I agree with that 100%. If you have, a piece of furniture that you picture yourself sitting on that with your former spouse and watching movies or whatever, sometimes you just need to get rid of that. But what if someone can't do that? What if, how can you cleanse and revitalize your living space in the situation where you are staying in that space that you shared? And, that creates a certain energy. So is there a way that someone can kind of stay in that space and make it so that they don't feel negative?
Yes. So that really depends on the person, of course. I mean, like if you're not affected by it, then, then that's not a problem. But if you are and it's difficult, I think the only thing that I would like suggest that if you recognize it, if you're conscious that you want it but you cannot, then ask for help. Ask for help, friends, environment, and do it one step at a time. What I always advise is that every time that I put my garbage outside from my bin, there's some space left, and then I open one drawer and then I throw things away. And you do that every time one corner, because if we think of the idea, okay, we need to, clean up the house, it's such a big thing that it becomes a resistance, or so just do it step by step and start with the things that are easy to you, like old makeup, creams, like there's so much like Christmas cards, or start somewhere because it will feel good, you'll feel motivated, and then it will be easy to get to the difficult stuff. And you don't need to throw the whole past away. I mean, it's maybe at that time you will look back and, look at it in a different way, and you can keep some of the things, of course. So, but start with something easy. Start with things that are, make it, just a low barrier to, I say.
Yeah. And I stayed in my shared home for a short period of time while I got it ready to sell it. And I did that. I just got rid of so much stuff. In fact, it was right after the pandemic or it was at the end of the pandemic, and I couldn't find someone to come and collect all this because I had 2/3 of my garage, just stuff that I was giving away. And finally they came and they said, you want us to take all this? And I said, yeah, just take it. But I think the other thing too is back to my question about, staying in that shared space. I think that one solution might be for someone, like, let's say I was talking about the couch. Let's say you have this couch and you can't get rid of it because you can't afford a new one because they're expensive. But what if you bought some really beautiful blankets or different pillows and you kind of changed the look of that couch, right? So that it's now more of your taste, bring stuff in and just brighten it up, liven it up. And I don't know, is that a good idea to kind of take something and repurpose it so that if you can't get rid of it?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's all about your intention. If you have the intention to clear the energy, you don't need to really physically do it. My boyfriend now moved in with me, but he comes from Prague. So every time, when after a few days we saw each other and he left, it was always very painful. And the first thing I did when he left was, okay, doors open, windows open, clean bed sheets, reminded food he cooked, everything gone. And of course, this is different because I know he'll come back, but it helps. Sometimes we also stick to it, and then you're sleeping with his sweater, that has his smell, and then so it's a choice. If you choose to move on, then you can use maybe an incense stick, or I love to use essential oil. So you have like this spray, and you put some oil in it, and you make it a ritual. You tell yourself, okay, I'm clearing all these energies. I'm ready to move on. I want to live in this space happily without feeling what you're feeling. So just write it down, or say it, walk through the house. The house is, I consider my house as a person as well, taking care of it and then asking for it to take care of you again. If you do this with intent, you don't need to buy new stuff. It's because it's in our mind. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And I also love sage too. I love walking around and kind of lighting the sage and just walking around my house. And I feel like I did that when I moved in. I do that whenever, same thing. I have a long distance partner too. And so I totally hear you in that respect. And as soon as he leaves, change the bed, and I open the windows and I light I put my essential oils in the diffuser. And it just kind of helps me to kind of ground myself and get back. Okay, I'm back to just being me now. And I love that idea. So, I don't know. That's just something I do as well. What about people who are living in temporary spaces? So let's say you're going through a divorce and you move into an apartment and you obviously can't make any changes to maybe, things that are fixed like window coverings, or maybe you're not allowed to paint, or I don't know. How can you make that space flow the best so that you can, find your way to healing or through healing more easily?
So Feng Shui works on, there are four factors that play part. One is the environment, so outside environment. It's all about bringing in the energy from outside. It always comes from outside. So then the first thing to pay attention is the door. Keep it like all have a door. You don't need to change it. You just need to make sure that there are no obstacles there so that it can enter. The second factor is the building itself. So it is also interior, but also the forms, the things that you see. So on a universal level, make sure that when you sit, that within your view, there's nothing pointy to you. There's no obstacles. Things are, there's space. There's light, as you're saying. I think these are small things that you can always do. If you want to feel alive, then put things around you that are alive, like plants, flowers, nice smells or music or things that lift you up. The second thing is the third factor is you. So you also have your own personal feng shui directions. So these directions, have to do with the places, the areas in the house that are favorable to you. This you can look it up on the internet and calculate yourself, or you can find a feng shui expert who can analyze that for you. But it means that you know how to make use of a space instead of changing the space. That's one. And then the last thing is the time energy. So the time gives you opportunities. Time is, if you live in a place that is temporary, then these are the things that you can use to benefit. If you are limited in opportunities, I would always focus on two things: the door, the entrance. I mean by that is to make sure that the area, the space in front of the door, is open, wide, so no cars or anything that is blocking something to enter the house, because that means if you open it, it means that you're allowing new people, opportunities, or things to happen in your life. Also, the entrance hall, keep it bright, make sure that it's not cluttered with jackets and shoes, etc. Because most people focus on the living room, because the living room is a space that people see, actually, when maybe friends or family come over. But the bedroom and the entrance are usually not considered as an important part. But when it comes to relationships and also internal, like our inner journey or our health, it's the focus on the front door and the bedroom, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah, that's great advice. What about workspaces? I mean, some people work at home and have home offices, and obviously some people work outside the home and there's not as much they can control. But do the same principles apply to the workspace? I'm assuming that it would, because if you have, let's say, a desk full of papers and books and stacks, and it kind of creates that frazzled, oh gosh, I have to do all this stuff. And I'm assuming that's going to affect your energy, because it does affect mine when my desk is busy. But what are there any other things that someone can do within their workspace to just kind of make them feel more happy and let the energy flow better?
Yes, I think for the workspace, the thing that I see very often when I visit homes is people sitting facing the wall. Facing the wall means you're literally running through, like having an obstacle in front of you. So if you're
blocked,
if you're feeling stuck and you feel like you cannot, that things are not moving and you're not getting the promotion or you're not having these ideas, then look around you. How much space do you, how much input do you get? And it's also good to have a wall behind you so that you have an overview in the room, that you see what is coming, because unconsciously, when we don't have a protection behind us, then unconsciously it's unsafe. So that is taking some part of your like awareness or consciousness.
Yeah.
I think actually it all comes down to this part, also with the pain and of change. Like in the ideal situation, I think that when you are very much connected with your higher self and grounded, etc., you're more in tune with the things that happen to you and the ideas that you get, the things that you feel. You're more aware of what's happening and how to anticipate on that. And what I mean with that is that very often people would tell me, yeah, it doesn't feel nice here. I'm not happy here, but you're still living there. You're in a relationship. It's not going well, but there is a part of us that is not able to let go and change. So we stay in a situation that is terrifying us, making us, and we stay there. And that becomes, because the more you do that, the more you're telling the body is warning you. And you say, no, it's fine. Yeah. So you get numb to it. And then all of a sudden, at some point, you cannot feel anymore. That's because, so that is, I think, that's
being controlled by letting yourself be controlled by the fear instead of realizing that you're the only one who can control what happens in your life. And you need to not let the fear dictate or prevent you from doing something that you feel intuitively would be good for you. So it's so common. Exactly. I mean, so many of my clients start out with a lot of fear. And I had fear too in the beginning of my journey. I was afraid, where will I live? How will I support myself all by myself? Things like this. But I knew that I had to do this, and I knew that I had to take care of me. And a lot of people, they even may know this, but they just let that fear in. And so it's hard. I mean, that's why. Yeah. So same
that's
thing.
why we need this tool. That's why we need this tool. So the full approach would be becoming more aware of like what is happening and what you need. So for example, maybe for one person it's difficult because it's difficult to change to change perspective. So that's something to work on. Maybe for another person, it will be anxiety, not knowing how to make a living yourself. Then the focus is on, okay, how are we going to help that? Or so how can we activate that instead of, so there are ways how to do it. But first, need to understand the part that is holding on to. Because if you're afraid that you'll live alone, then we'll find and see how to invite a new person in your life. So I think it's that. And then when you know what that thing is, then the house, the Feng Shui is going to help you to get that. Feng Shui is basically, it can enhance something that you're doing. So for example, if you want to heal or you want to change perspective, then there is a place in the house that can help you do that. And if you take part in that place, then that will,
So that so resonates with me and with what I teach my clients as well. And I really love this whole concept because I think if I hear you correctly, what you are saying is that Feng Shui is a tool that can help in the healing, but sometimes we may not be ready for it. And so before we might have to work on a few things within, so that we can then invite kind of use our intuition and invite that in to learn to love our space so that our space can support us and help us move forward. Is that right?
Yeah, it's like with the cleaning, it's breaking it into small steps. It's we make things very complex for ourselves very often, and to make it very difficult, which therefore, as a result, we are like, stuck because we don't know how to do it. Then we start with one thing. What do you need right now? And what do you need afterwards? And then one step by one step, you'll, get the confidence, feel happier, and then it will improve because your vibration, your frequency is what you are is what you get and attract. So if you focus on your own energy first, then and there are several ways to do it, and Feng Shui is one of it, or you do yoga, or doesn't matter what, something that suits you. Yes. That's the start to attract or to start things, in a new way. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I help people do within the healing realm, is to learn all of those things they need to get through or work through so that they feel, the love, the self-love, they feel self-worth, they get to a point where they actually feel happiness and feel some of that heaviness start lifting. And so there are so many different tools for healing, and everybody's different, kind of like you mentioned before, with the Feng Shui. Each individual has different needs. And so oftentimes when we start the healing journey on our own, it can be frustrating and even overwhelming because we don't know what our needs are yet. So a lot of people don't know where to start. And some people will start the journey on their own with one thing, and then they'll accomplish that. But then instead of doing the baby steps, like you mentioned, and feeling great about it, they'll say, oh my gosh, there's so much more, and they'll give up. So just like Feng Shui, I think that is a phenomenal tool, because I love how what you do on the outside can affect the inside. And there aren't many healing tools like that. A lot of it is just kind of diving deep inner work. So I love that this is something that people can use to help them feel better and help the energy flow. And so what about I was looking at your website, and I'm going to share that here in a moment. And if you're listening on an audio channel, I will put in the show notes ways for you to reach out to Helena. But I know that you had a seminar coming up pretty soon for people. Is it like a begin? And do you have these often? These online things where people can sign up and tune in and learn about maybe some Feng Shui basics or even more advanced things.
Yes, I'm very happy with the opportunity to do this on a frequent basis here. My intention with that is to give people, to make people aware of the possibilities of the that sits in your house, because the things that we discussed here, these are like universally ways how to make sure that the energy is flowing, because that is like a first essential thing to even start with Feng Shui. But the real power in Feng Shui, and this is what I hope people can inspire people to explore it, is that just like yourself, the moment the house is born, the energy of that moment, it sits in the house, and it has specific qualities in the house and it's very hard to maybe understand how this is possible, but your house can give you a diagnosis of what is happening in your life. And so, but it's not the fault of the house, but it's where you are in life, that's what you're attracting. So you're attracted to a house because I believe that you are supposed to experience this in your life. And once you understood that, once you taken the lesson or learned from it, then you can intently change the position of the house or change a new house so that, you can start a new chapter. So the house can give you, show you why things are happening and also show you how to correct it and change certain things. And this is very on a more deeper level, but this is something that is very helpful and easier to do, especially hand in hand if you're doing the work, if you're doing the work for your mind or physical, body, health and stuff, then these two hand in hand is the best, I say.
Yeah. And that's that. I think what you're talking about there is just kind of the intuition. And I just did a whole podcast. I've done a couple podcasts on intuition, but I dropped one a short while ago on kind of diving deep into that whole intuitive mindset. And it's really interesting. My personal journey, at least, I was always very intuitive growing up. I was a very intuitive child. I had some really weird things where I would see things and this and that. And then I explained in the intuition podcast that I kind of stopped listening at some point because I was going through some, difficult times within my marriage. And one thing when I started my healing journey is I really worked hard on that intuition and letting out the inner child, and those things, doing all those things led me to really feel grounded in my new space and understand what I needed from that space. And because I wanted to come home, I was so used to, for a long time, coming home to a space that used to feel sacred to me in my former home and had become a place I didn't want to come home to because I was unhappy. So I knew that in this new place, I wanted to come home and every minute I was here just be so joyous and so grateful that I live here. And so when I need to make a tweak to that for whatever reason, I do now because I'm so knowing of what I need, what I expect from my home, what it needs from me in turn. And I thank these walls every day for supporting me. And I think that's a huge accomplishment to be able to get to that point where you know what you need in general, but where you're focusing on your living space, it makes such a huge difference in your life. So I love this whole concept of Feng Shui and just the metaphysics of it all and being able to place things in certain places and etc. Where can people find you if they want to learn more about this and maybe check into some of the things or classes that you offer online? And before you give that, I know because you are out of the country, you're in Amsterdam, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you do kind of mobile consultations for people here in the US or?
Yes, I do. I do destiny analysis as well. So that is very easy online. That's the starting point. That's knowing what you want and your intent. And for Feng Shui, I do online scans. So I do finding your personal sweet spot. So recognizing which area is good for you, how to place your bed, and all these basics can be done online. And it's a nice first invitation to understand this concept and to start applying this at home. Yes.
Wonderful. So where can people find you online so they can go and check it out? Because I highly recommend this to everybody.
Wisdom.nl is my website, and you can find me on Instagram, Helena Ho, also Wheels of Wisdom. That's the name of the company, so to say, because this is a very ancient wisdom that has been known, intelligence been known for 3 decades or something, and I hope that it can be used and known now.
Ancient Chinese wisdom. I love it. There's so much wisdom in ancient practices from all over the world. And it's interesting that if you go to some of these places where those practices were born, you can see that they're kind of commonplace now, right? And here in the US, I think a lot of people know about many of these ancient practices, but it's becoming more and more desirable now to seek out information on them because people want to feel connected. They want to feel grounded. They want to feel, happy. Like, how can I be happier inside by doing what I can do outside? So I think it's a great idea. And I thank you so much for being here with me today and for all of this wonderful, yummy information. You've really been a great resource. So I hope that a lot of the listeners and viewers will check out what it is that you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.